We are rolling.
Good morning. Welcome back to the conversation. This is Pointing Out the Obvious. This is our news and politics webcast, our daily take on what's buzzing today. I'm your host, Patrick Russell, and over there is my very opinionated producer, Veronica. Together, we're here to quip and quiver through today's headlines, searching for the real, no matter how deep into the swamp we need to go. Good day to you, Veronica. Great story that came out exposing how the state of South Dakota has become such a huge tax haven.
Yep.
It rivals the likes of the Bahamas, the Virgin Islands, and Panama. Can you believe that?
Yep.
So one of the things that came out is the exposure that the Republican-ran state government, and that runs down the line. By saying Republican-ran state, you're talking about the governor, which then brings into most cases the Secretary of State, which then brings into account the businesses and the banking rules that state typically will engage in. And that can be separate and different from everybody else in the country, right? Yeah. And boy, are they different in South Dakota. Beginning back in the early 80s, 1983, South Dakota was one of the first maverick states to allow perpetual trusts. And the reason why this perpetual trust was so important is because then it allowed a parking spot for a lot of money to never be touched forever.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what big major investors from all around the world have done. Beyond just allowing the perpetual trusts, over the last several decades, South Dakota has been a real trendsetter when it comes to bank secrecy laws and pushing back on the government as far as being able to protect not only the identity of their clients individually, but the connection of trusts that are really being used as a vehicle to not only escape taxes, but to also escape identification, right? And so with the trust, you usually have three main parties. You have the grantor. That's the person that gives something to the trust. Then you have the trustee, the person that doesn't own the assets, but the one that's the overseer and making sure he's making the right day-to-day decisions to protect the best interests of the trust. Got it? The fiduciary. And then, of course, you've got the beneficiary, the person that receives the benefit or the assets or the incomes of the trust, right?
Yep.
South Dakota is one of the very first states that allowed both the grantor and the beneficiary to be the same party. And so you can imagine how much double-handed dealing unscrupulous lawyer, tax attorney, or an accountant can be with this kind of, not leverage, but this kind of area to operate in, right? The luxury, the flexibility, as well as doing this all under a cover of a state bank secrecy law that makes pretty much all of these transactions, relationships, transfers, deposits, withdrawals secret from the eyes of any government agency, to include the tax man. Does that make all sense?
Yep.
Now, could this have been regulated in a different way? Could banking laws and financing laws on a federal level controlled a little bit of what South Dakota is doing? Absolutely, right? But of course, the United States does allow on a federal level for the states to have carte blanche when it comes to a lot of these banking and financing rules that govern the ability to hold trusts in your state. Okay, so now why does this matter? Dark money. We hear it all the time, and it's a broad term that really just defines assets and a large sum of money that we don't know the source of. Could it be terrorists? Could it be organizations that have ties to countries that have horrible human rights records, right? I mean, these are all things that now come to the forefront of the conversation of, is it important for us to have a little bit more transparency as to who's parking billions of dollars of money in the United States that A, we don't get a dime in taxes of.
Yep.
And B, we can't have any true regulation on protection as to whether we're actually harboring the money to agents that are causing harm to the United States on a global scale. I mean, that's just broad talking. Now, from a younger generation's perspective, how important do you feel that it is that the United States do everything that it can to participate with the global financial community to make sure that information is transparent beyond borders. Financial banks now not caring whether you're from France, Switzerland, London, the Bahamas, Panama, but now that there is a common reporting standard, that the United States becomes part of, join up with, and starts actively transferring information and accepting information from foreign banks and entities. From a younger generation's perspective, what do you feel the importance of this is?
I mean, it makes sense. It totally makes sense on the ability of all the countries, I guess, coming together and making sure that they know where the money's coming from, where the money's going. If I was a millionaire or billionaire per se, I wouldn't like that, because and then obviously I'm going to be exposing my money, my billions of dollars in other countries or vice versa, right? So it depends the angle that you see it. I mean, once again, if I was a billionaire, I will tell you right away, no, I don't like that. And then I will start implementing, policies, my privacy, my social is gonna be everywhere, and then I can start giving you 1,000 reasons why not to do so. But because I'm not, probably my answer will be yes, it's a great idea, and as long as they implement, once again, rules and limitations where the privacy of the client, in this case from the bank perspective, right, it's secure, I don't see an issue. I mean, that makes sense.
Final note. Pat, why are you barking up this tree? Why are you trying to be an agent of harm to free enterprise? I am not. The reason why we bring this to the forefront and to everybody's attention is because the state of South Dakota and its extreme secretive bank and financing laws have been a party to fraud.
Yep.
They've been a party to tax evasion. Final note, I would be remiss if I didn't happen to mention that Ecuadorian President Guillermo Lasso has been exposed as one of the culprits, individuals in power that have parked lots of dinero in South Dakota, not because they've got great interest rates, not because the website really transfers information really well into your QuickBooks. No. Because he wanted to dodge taxes, which then at the very end, we talked about this in the past, if we let all the big hogs dodge the taxes, instead of having a world where our marginal tax rate is 2-3%, we got to make up the difference for the fraud, and that's why we're talking about 37, 39, 40% of what we earn and haul in has to go to make up the difference for the hogs that we need to now take to the slaughterhouse. Am I here? Am I right? Guys, there's no right answer. There's no wrong answer, but there is your opinion. Please don't just subscribe to the show, but lend your voice to the show. It'll make it a whole lot more fun. Guys, it doesn't matter if you lean to the right. It doesn't matter if you lean to the left. As long as you're treating the person in front of you kindly, you just made the world a better place. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.